Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's a little puff. Do you see it, Marcus? Like a cloud forming. Ellender, look. See, Ellender, right there. It's getting bigger and forming letters. T and A. And what's that? Oh yeah, it's a K. Take the, oh, I can make out C-H-I. Take the children home. Oh, wait, it's still coming. Take the children home. I'm okay. We're better than okay. Do you hear that? We're doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. It's a great turnout for such a scary evening. It's a lot colder in Chicago, though, where I'm coming from.
And I was just thinking about the way you're structuring things and the forms you're working with here. I kept thinking of the writer Pam Houston. I don't know if you're familiar with her work. She wrote a book called Cowboys Are My Weaknesses.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've heard of that book, yeah.
And I think there's something about the almost aphoristic sort of way you treat these sort of moments from the narrative you're building here, but yet the narrative itself remains. There's a consistency at the same time. There's a broken quality to it that I really like. Could you talk about some of your influences?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's really interesting and perceptive that you say about the aphoristic, because there's 8 different parts of the book. It has a lot of scaffolding in the book because I wanted to tell the story in such a way that it would be from a traumatic sort of a mind in trauma. So when you have trauma, I think you sort of you go back and forth in thinking, trying to piece together what happened and whether you missed signs along the way and how you could have prevented it. And I think the mind jumps back and forth and says, oh, well, when did it start? And oh my gosh, should I have done this? And then you're in the present, but then you're in the past, and you really don't have a future at that point. So it's sort of a jagged puzzle. And so there's a lot of scaffolding in the book because of that jagged quality. And so I wanted to give enough form to the structure that it could be easily followed. And every segment of the book has an aphorism. And one of the aphorisms is, love is the dog we let into our bed even when it bites. So every section has an aphorism, and then every 50 pages is a clue, clue number 1, 2, and then the final deadly clue. They're all clues that your relationship is going bad. And so, yeah, the aphoristic quality, and just, I guess, I don't know if I answered your question, but I just felt like since I wanted to have this mind that was just totally in flux and trying to grasp, it's sort of like a catastrophe. You have an earthquake, in this case kind of a soul quake, and everything is debris and detritus, and you don't know where you're standing, and so you're trying to piece together things in your head of what happened. And
yeah, the narrator's kind of seeing stars that comes through.
Yeah, exactly. And this is I did write extra things for this to make it a dramatization. So there's a few intact scenes, but the rest of it is just for the play, and it's not actually appearing in the book. But
could you give us some of those clues that your relationship is going bad?
Yeah, sure. One of them, I think the final deadly clue sort of speaks to a lot of people usually. I think it's she no longer feels protected by him, and he no longer feels needed by her. That's another one. Let me think. There's a lot of them, every 50 pages. So I'm drawing a blank of the other clues. What? Yeah, you have to find. Yes, good plug, Letitia. Very good. The other clue. Do you remember any of the clues? I'm just drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank.
Wow, this is not good. On to the next. You'll have to read the book and see. Are you asking from a personal standpoint, or?
No.
I hope not. I sincerely hope not.
Always up and up.
Well, I'm sure I chose a very weird subject, because I'm sure no one has ever gone through heartbreak in this whole room. I'm sure it's a very foreign subject for everyone. So.
I actually had a related question about the way you structured the book. And you're also a musician, predominantly. You were a classical pianist.
Right. I was trained to be a concert pianist, and now I write a lot of music. I have a song, Undoing I Do. It's available on iTunes, and actually I have a lot of really cool musicians playing, so I have a little street cred here. My brother-in-law used to play with Smashing Pumpkins, and now he plays with Morrissey, and he plays on the song that I wrote. And we have some other really cool musicians on. Morrissey.
Oh, I'm dating myself. I'm wondering about
the Smiths, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How your music maybe works with your writing. A friend of mine wrote a story that was based on the musical concept of a fugue, where he wrote the same story several times, but with variations, and he deliberately was working with that. So I'm wondering if there's any sense of musicality in your writing.
Well, totally. I mean, the character in the book is, oddly enough, also a musician. And so I do have a soundtrack to the book, so when it's on my website, but it's a partial soundtrack. And the songs that are mentioned in the book that she's writing to cope with her tragedy, her own little personal hell, are on the soundtrack on my website. And again, the theme song is on iTunes, and then I have a music video as well. But yeah, the way I structured it, there's a lot of musical terms, and the first chapter is actually final chord. So, and it is another way that I wrote it, I think, that made it seem a little bit elegiac, because you know that the arc of the story is that she's getting divorced. The first chapter is the complete implosion of the relationship, and he moves out that day. And well, there is a little prelude to that, and it is actually prelude to a burn, and it's their consummation night. So it's consummation, and then the leaving of the husband. So it's sort of slam bam and just hits the ground running. So you know right away, sort of in the style of Brecht, I think, that like when the Berliner Ensemble did Brecht's work, Mother Courage or whatever, they had signage, and it said something like, "In this chapter, you will see the mother dying, and the baby will get thrown into the river." And then, so it has this quality of not only dread, but just extreme sadness and grieving, that this is going to happen, but you're going to see it unfolding before your eyes. So I kind of like that as an example of kind of for this particular story, because I thought, well, we all know that people fall in love, and then the next moment it's like a before and an after. Before you're in love and people can't believe it, and oh my God, she looks great and he looks great, and they're in love, and then the next second it's over and you're like, oh, how did that happen? They look horrible, and people are looking cadaverous and can't eat, and it's just terrible. And so I thought that's kind of a good way to start, just that it's over. But there's a beautiful scene, like I guess the first line of the book is, men and women should meet in beautiful rooms, stroke each other for hours, and then go back to their separate lives. So that's the aphorism of the whole book, and then every part has its own aphorism. So that sort of disproved that through the characters, that it would be nice in a way. You'd never have divorce if we all sort of beautiful roomed it. But then it doesn't happen that way, because you want to be with that person, because you fall in love and you fall into their life. So then I think the arc of the story is just that happens, and then it's this sort of going back and forth into also sort of like part of the scene of Tobin and the snow is a sort of an unattainable past or an unattainable future where, wow, I should have seen it. I should have seen this happening, but I didn't see it. Any other questions? I also, when I do Barnes & Noble readings or Borders readings this year, I've had a breakup box, and people have put in their choice breakup stories, and I've read them, and it's been really fun. I mean, probably not for them, but it's been. Does anybody have any particularly strange or wild breakup story they want to share with everybody in the whole room?
You can say it's your friend, not you.
Is it Josh? Josh?
Actually, well, I have a question, but I
Sure.
didn't break up story.
Say whatever you want, or tell us what you like to write. Or I'm interested in hearing what the students do in their time when they're sitting in front of a computer as well.
Well, it was more a matter of coincidence than anything else. I didn't retrospect, I realized how insensitive I was. But there was a dance that I had gone back home because it was my birthday weekend, and on that same day, there was my high school's homecoming dance. It was my freshman year, and I was supposed to go with an old friend.